Hey there, internet friends. Brad Johnson here from Song Production Pros, and today I have a product demo that I'm super excited about. It's of the Supro Delta King 12 and 10. Sweetwater was kind enough to send me both amps for review so I could compare the 12-inch to the 10-inch side by side, so that way you can know which one to go with, because you may not need to spend that extra cash on a 12-inch because the 10-inch may just be what you need, but vice versa. You may need to upgrade to the 12-inch depending on what you're looking for and your use case. But this isn't a full review. If you want to get a full review of these amps and a bunch of different mic'd up sound samples between the two, go check out the article I wrote below. I'll dive deeper into the amps and what I thought about them, and as well as many, many sound examples for you to compare the two with, nice and mic'd up. So go check that out. Now, honestly, there really isn't that much difference between the two amplifiers, besides the obvious of one having a 12-inch speaker at 15 watts and the other one a 10-inch speaker at 5 watts. They both have all tubes, real spring reverb, an EQ section, while the 12-inch has a mid-band EQ, while the 10-inch doesn't. But I'm going to get more into that later, to why I don't really think that matters. And then there's also a preamp in on the 12-inch that's not on the 10-inch. The preamp in is something where you can plug in a external preamp or like a preamp pedal, and it'll bypass the preamp section in the 12, and that way you can kind of hot rod your 12 with these different preamps and pedals without having to take it apart and do soldering work and all that. And it's actually kind of a cool feature if you are kind of in that tweaker mode. But other than that, there's nothing really different about it. Oh yeah, 12-inch has 6L6 power amp tube, 10-inch has 6V6 power amp tube. And I think with the 6V6 with the 10-inch at 5 watt, you have less headroom. And so I find that there's a lot more mid-range in the 10-inch than there is in the 12-inch, hence not really needing that mid-band EQ, because I already feel like there's an inherent mid-range bump in this amp compared to the 12-inch, and there's a lot less high-end. And so you're gonna get more of a vintage sound out of the cleans. The distorted tones I feel like are a little bit more focused and punchy, while the 12-inch you're going to get more headroom, you have more horsepower, so to speak, so you're going to get more of that high-end definition. The cleans are more sparkly, while the distortion is going to be a little bit more aggressive and in your face, not so much punchy. It's a little bit more like high-end sizzly. If you're not careful, sometimes it can come off as almost fizzy. Right out the gate, I would say I probably like the Supro 10-inch for its distortion, and I like the 12-inch for its clean. So that might not make your decision making any easier, but that's just what I think. Also, because the Supro 12-inch has more headroom with the higher wattage and that 6L6 power amp tube, I'm going to use this running through a pedal board and show you kind of how this works as a pedal platform, while the 10-inch I'm just going to plug direct in. So when I do the tone comparisons, we're going to hear just the Supro 10-inch by itself, and then we're going to do the Supro 12-inch with pedals. And the pedals that I'm working with here are Empress buffer pedal into a Boss volume pedal, into a JHS pulp and peel compressor, into the Pigtronix gamma drive, which actually the overdrive circuit in both these is a Pigtronix fat drive. So I'm going to compare the gamma to the actual overdrive in the amps, because that could be an actual added value for you buying the amp, because you might be getting like a $120 pedal circuitry in an amp. So consider that extra value. Into a Walrus Voyager Electro Harmonics Micro Pog. There's a Walrus Julia, which is like a vibrato chorusy type modulation effect. Into a Pigtronix Glomer, Strymon Timeline, Strymon Flint, and then a New Neighbor Wet Reverb. So that's what's on the pedal board. I might not use them all, but just so you know, that's what is going on there. I'm excited to show you the tones and get into it. Let's go. I'm going into the 10-inch direct. Everything's at noon. I'm not miking it. I want you to just kind of hear what this thing sounds like in a room. So I figure a lot of you are probably looking for just a good bedroom amp, so I just want to show you how it sounds. This is the clean channel. Here we go. So you can hear it's nice and clean. If you were to listen to the Supro 12-inch compared to the 10-inch, you'll definitely hear that this thing has a pretty rolled off high end, a little more mid-range vintagey tone compared to the 12-inch. Again, in the blog post below, you'll be able to hear those comparisons. It'll be easier to kind of A-B. But I love it. I love it for kind of more of that subdued type of, vintage character. Great for blues. It doesn't break up really on the clean channel. I'm gonna throw the boost on. So the boost, it's very similar to the clean channel, but it just gives you a little extra grit as you push into it, making this a really responsive amp because you see it still sounds clean. If I it's nice. Let's turn up the treble a bit. It's a little bassy for me, so let's hear what the EQ sounds like. I'm going to turn up the treble just a little bit here. Just going to crank the treble and the bass so you kind of hear what that sounds like, just to kind of give you an idea of the EQ. Alright, let's turn that treble down, turn that bass down to noon. So this is the drive circuit using the Pigtronix Fat Drive circuitry. Another thing that's really fun is that if you push the volume, you can use the master as an attenuator, and you push the volume, you drive the tubes more and the circuit, so you're going to get a lot more kind of a fuzzy tone to the distortion. I'm going to kind of show you that. I'm going to crank the volume all the way up, back the master down so I don't blow your ears off. Here's both the boost and the drive channel together, just to go into all-out destruction on the internal circuitry on this thing. Let's take a listen. All right, so I'm going to move over to the 12-inch here. You already hear there's just a lot more high-end definition going on with the 12-inch. I have everything at noon, just like I did with the 10-inch. All right, yeah. A lot of headroom. It doesn't distort. great for indie rock players, even funk or jazz who maybe want something to be a little bit more clean that doesn't get gritty. This thing will do it. Let's get into the boost tone on this one. Especially in that higher, like, there's just a lot more attack. It's got a lot more of that high-end information while the 10-inch kind of rolls it off. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, you just do a little EQ. And, you know, you can mellow that out if you need it, or if you do need that to cut through a mix, you got it. We're going to go to the drive circuit. Boost drive. Oh man, it's just a different beast. So like the distortion in this is going to be a lot more in your face, kind of more modern rock and kind of more fuzz focused, while the 10-inch is going to be a little more mellow, vintagey, but they still are, it's very subtle. You know, if you're looking for something that's going to be that's going to saturate at lower volumes, the 10-inch is going to be your guy. If you're looking for something that's going to be a little bit more like play with a band, maybe have a drummer that you work with, the 12-inch is probably what you're going to need. You may run out of juice with a 10-inch. If you're doing recording, maybe the 10-inch might be your better bet. Gigging, 12-inch. But if you have a microphone and you're miking these guys up, I mean, really, either one works. Clean tone, I love on the 12-inch. So if you're looking for pure clean, probably want to go to the 12-inch. All right, so the next thing I actually want to demo is the drive circuit by Pigtronix and the Supro compared to the Pigtronix Gamma Drive. I want to show you how much value is packed into these amplifiers. They both have Pigtronix Fat Circuit for the overdrive in this, and I'm going to compare it to the $120 pedal by Pigtronix. So again, overdrive in the Supro amp. The Gamma Drive. The Gamma Drive is going to be everything at noon. Very close. You could probably get this to sound a little bit more like the Supro. By adjusting the EQs and the gamma, and vice versa. So that just shows you that there's a lot of value packed in this Supro. They didn't really cut corners. This thing is a very versatile amplifier. They do cleans really well. Both these do cleans really well. It's got a good boost, good gain, and then you can really push this thing into overdrive, and it holds up. So it really can cover a lot of genres and a lot of bases. But the last thing I want to cover is just how does it work as a pedal platform? And you know, I'm going to do the 12-inch for the pedals over the 10-inch. They both actually do take pedals very well. The reason why I'm doing the 12-inch is because of it being a 6L6 power tube, the 12-inch and 15-watt version, you have more headroom, meaning you're going to be able to push more into the amplifier before it wants to break up. And because of that, I have a feeling that it handles pedals just a little bit better than the 10-inch because you can throw more into it, and it's going to kind of let the pedals breathe in the amp more than the 10-inch will. But again, they both do a great job at handling pedals. So I'm just going to mess around. I'm going to throw on the Walrus Audio Julia, which is like a chorusy vibrato. I'm going to throw in a little bit of tremolo. Why not? Too much. So... do some big reverb. Things got a little weird there, I'm not gonna lie. So there you have it. The Supro 12-inch to the Supro 10-inch. Really, they're both fantastic amps. You can't go wrong with either one. If you're a player just kind of looking for a tube amp to practice in your home at bedroom levels, you want to kind of get that nice natural tube saturation, and you don't need all the bells and whistles like a preamp in, I would say go with the 10-inch. It's got a more vintage sound to it, a little less high-end, a little more mid-range punch. However, if you are playing with a lot of pedals, maybe you're playing with a band and you need something that's a little more juice, or you're looking for an amp that has a more pristine, clean tone, then the 12-inch is going to be your guy. But either way, you cannot go wrong with either one. They're fantastic amps. I've really enjoyed playing with them. My only real gripe about them is it can be a little noisy. But other than that, they're really high quality. They're hard to make sound bad, and they just look fantastic. I mean, you can get this black with the cream stripe. There's also the one with tweed with the black stripe. Both wonderful. I have to say, pulling this thing out of the box, it looks better in person than it does in photos or even in this video. So if you've been on the fence about it, check it out. I do not think you're going to be disappointed. Again, I have some links below to where you can see current prices on Sweetwater. Those are affiliate links. So if you do purchase through that, I will earn a small commission, but it's at no extra expense to you, and it helps me to continue to grow this channel. So until next time, have a great day. Take care. Bye.